For centuries, the azure waters of the Mediterranean brought peace and prosperity to the shores of Algeria. Under the protection of the Ottoman Empire, these lands, the shining star of North Africa, with their strategic ports and fertile soil, encountered a dark shadow on a sunny morning in 1830. The French fleet appearing on the horizon brought not just an invading army, but a systematic colonial regime that would last for over a century. This marked the beginning of one of history's bloodiest and most honorable struggles for independence, waged against an attempt to erase an entire people. Although France's arrival in Algeria was ostensibly based on a simple diplomatic tension known to history as the Fan Affair, the true motive was to restore French pride shaken after the Napoleonic Wars, and to seize the region's rich resources. On June 14, 1830, a French army of 37,000 men landed on the shores of Sétif Massacre, stepping onto Algerian soil with modern weaponry and ruthless strategies. This first contact was not merely a territorial occupation, but the ignition of a process to uproot a civilization. The invading forces expected to find a submissive people. They were mistaken. In 1832, a young leader named Emir Abdelkader united scattered tribes and began to demonstrate the first examples of modern guerrilla warfare. Abdelkader, who would be remembered as the modern founder of Algeria, gave the French army no respite. Using the mountains, valleys, and deserts as fortresses, the Algerians reminded the colonizer in every clash that these lands were not unclaimed. Despite years of epic resistance, France's scorched earth policy, razzia, began to yield results. Villages were set ablaze, fields were destroyed, and tens of thousands of civilians were condemned to starvation. With the surrender of Emir Abdelkader in 1847, the first great bastion of resistance fell. During this period, hundreds of thousands of Algerians lost their lives. Tribal structures were shattered, and the country was officially declared a province of France. However, this defeat was not an end, but merely the silent preparation for a much larger explosion. The years spent under French colonial rule were a total nightmare for the Algerian people. The native population was confined to the indigène status, deprived of their most basic rights. While the most fertile lands were distributed to European settlers, Pieds Noirs, Algerians became strangers in their own homeland. The Arabic language was banned, and mosques were converted into churches or warehouses. While the people were forced to live in hunger and misery, the colonial power plundered all of Algeria's resources for the grandeur of Paris. At the end of World War II, as Europe celebrated its freedom, Algerians took to the streets to demand their own. On May 8, 1945, what began as a peaceful demonstration in the city of Sétif turned into a genocide following the ruthless intervention of the French army. Within a few days, more than 45,000 Algerians were massacred. This massacre solidified a single truth in the minds of the Algerian people: freedom could not be won through diplomacy, but only through arms. On the night of November 1, 1954, the War for Independence officially began, with simultaneous attacks launched by the National Liberation Front, FLN, Mujahideen in the mountains, resistance fighters in the cities, and a people united regardless of gender, set out to achieve the impossible against one of the world's most powerful armies. The French army poured 500,000 soldiers into the region, but every street and every corner of Algeria turned into a front. Global public opinion began to speak of the systematic torture and atrocities in Algeria. Victory was near, but the price was unimaginably high. In the war between 1954 and 1962, Algeria sacrificed approximately 1.5 million of its children as martyrs. To break the resistance, the French army turned villages into concentration camps and made systematic torture a state policy. At least one person from every family became a victim of this war. The soil of Algeria was virtually reshaped with the blood shed for freedom. France could no longer resist, either militarily or politically. With the Evian Accords signed in 1962, Algeria's independence was recognized. The French flag, which had flown over these lands for 132 years, was lowered forever on July 5, 1962. French settlers and military units left the ports, leaving behind a devastated country, but a dignified people. On the morning of July 5th, the streets of Algeria witnessed the greatest celebrations of joy in history. While white, green, and red Algerian flags fluttered at every corner, shouts of "Long live free Algeria" echoed through the sky. The 132-year-old shackles were broken, and a nation was reborn from its ashes. This was not just a victory, but one of the greatest lessons human dignity ever gave to colonialism. The story of Algeria proved to the whole world that freedom is never a gift, but is won with great sacrifice. Today, Algeria continues to be known as the land of millions of martyrs. So, who were the other countries on the other side of the world that experienced similar suffering but met a different fate? In our next video, we will witness another epic of independence written in the impenetrable jungles of Vietnam. Stay tuned.